What if I told you the reason your life feels out of control is because you are not yet in command of yourself? Not your job, not your goals, not your money, your relationships, your reputation. I'm talking about you. The deeper self, the mind beneath the noise, the will beneath the weakness, the fire beneath the fear. Until you master that, nothing else you touch will ever truly be yours. You can't dominate the world if you're still a slave to your emotions. You can't build an empire if your own thoughts betray you every morning. And you will never, never experience real success until you've silenced the enemy within. That's not just a theory, it's the law. The first and final law of greatness: master yourself or be mastered by the world. Do you feel it? That unease that something in you is being wasted? That gnawing sense that you were born for more, but somehow you keep getting in your own way? That isn't weakness. That's the voice of your higher self, screaming to be set free. And I'm here to tell you, it's time to listen. You were not born to obey. You were not built to follow. You are not here to live on your knees, begging for scraps of success from the table of others. You are the maker, the decider, the sculptor of destiny. But none of that power matters until you take hold of the only thing that ever mattered: yourself. The mind is your battlefield. The emotions are your terrain. The habits are your soldiers. And your current life? That's the result of every choice you've made when no one was watching. I won't give you comfort here. I won't tell you it gets easier, because it doesn't. What it does get is clearer, cleaner, more focused. You strip away the noise. You kill the coward within. You bury the lazy self and build the disciplined one. Mastery is not found in motivation. It's found in repetition, in ritual, in refusing to betray your future self for 5 seconds of comfort. You want success? Then become the kind of person who cannot live without progress. Train your mind to kneel before your vision. That's how the world begins to kneel before you. This is not a pep talk. This is a wake-up call. From this moment on, you don't move until you command it. You don't speak until it serves your mission. You don't think unless it's aligned with the highest version of yourself. Master yourself, or be mastered. There is no middle ground. Mastery begins where excuses end, and most men never reach that place, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack courage, the courage to look in the mirror and admit, I am the problem, and I am the solution. You see, we're taught to chase success, but we are rarely taught to become someone who can handle it. Without self-mastery, success destroys more lives than failure ever could. Because without discipline, power turns to arrogance. Without clarity, abundance becomes chaos. Without emotional control, every gain is temporary. That's why I say again, before you conquer the world, you must conquer yourself. You think the world is testing you? Number. You are testing you. Every hesitation, every distraction, every time you give in to weakness, that is the battlefield. Not the boardroom, not the gym, not the bank account. The real war is internal. And hear this, you cannot lead others if you can't even lead your own thoughts. You cannot inspire if you're driven by impulses. You cannot command results when you're constantly negotiating with your fears. Discipline isn't restriction, it's liberation. It frees you from the trap of regret. It breaks the cycle of self-betrayal. Most people sell out their future for short-term comfort. But the master, he waits. He delays gratification. He sharpens his will until temptation no longer speaks the same language. So ask yourself, what owns you right now? Is it comfort? Is it fear? Is it your past? Until you name it, you can't defeat it. And until you defeat it, it owns you. You must train yourself like a warrior trains for war, every day. Not when you feel like it, not when the stars align. Every single day, until the old version of you no longer exists. You bury him beneath the weight of repetition. The truth is, greatness isn't a mystery. It's a choice made every morning in silence, a choice to rise when you could rest, to move when you could hide, to speak truth when lies would be easier. You already know what needs to change. The question is, will you obey your higher self or keep surrendering to the weaker one? Self-mastery is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to be small, before doubt crept in, before fear built its cage around your brilliance. Every soul is born with fire, but most let it flicker out under the weight of distraction and disapproval. But not you, not now. You're here because something in you refuses to die quietly. Something in you is still fighting, even if it's buried beneath years of compromise. That's the spark. That's the part of you I'm speaking to, the part that's not interested in average, the part that knows you were made to lead your life, not react to it. Mastery means no more negotiating with weakness, no more asking fear for permission. It means doing what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Because feelings come and go, but who you become through consistency, that stays. That's what builds legacy. Do not wait for motivation. It is fleeting. Do not wait for clarity. It comes through action. Do not wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And now is the moment where identity is forged. You see, the mind, left untrained, becomes a liar. It will tell you you're tired when you're capable. It will tell you you're stuck when you haven't even tried. It will sell you comfort in exchange for greatness, and most will buy it. But not the master. The master doesn't listen to the noise. He trains it. And you must become that master. Ruthlessly focused, unshakably committed, not to some external prize, but to the internal standard that says, I don't rise and fall with circumstances. I rise and fall with how I lead myself. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest enough to admit when you've fallen short, and disciplined enough to never fall the same way twice. Because success isn't just built on habits, it's built on integrity with yourself. The quiet, unseen promises you keep. The mornings you rise in silence and say, I will not lose this day. That's where real success begins. That's where self-mastery is earned. You don't rise by chance. You rise by design. And that design is written in the details no one sees. The quiet choices, the internal battles, the decisions you make when no one is watching. That's where the separation happens. That's where average ends and mastery begins. Most men want the rewards. Few want the responsibility. They say they want freedom, but they're addicted to comfort. They say they want greatness, but they wait to feel ready. And I tell you this, if you wait until you feel ready, you'll die waiting. Readiness is a myth. The real you is born through action, through the fire of resistance, through the repetition of excellence long after excitement fades. That's when identity is rewritten. That's when power becomes your default. So forget motivation, forget hype, forget the applause. If you truly want success, you must crave discipline. You must fall in love with structure. You must hunger for solitude, because it's in the silence, the boredom, the repetition. That's where warriors are made. You think power comes from the outside, or from titles, wealth, or recognition? Number power is the quiet knowing that you do not need the world's permission to become who you were meant to be. Power is walking into any room and not needing to speak, because your presence already tells the story. But that kind of presence, that kind of success, can't be faked. It can't be bought. It must be earned daily through the mastery of thought, action, and reaction. It's not about controlling others. It's about controlling you. How do you respond when the pressure rises? How do you speak to yourself when things go wrong? How do you show up when no one claps? These are the questions that define your life. Because every day you are building one of two things, your excuses or your empire. And the bricks are the same. Your time, your energy, your habits. The only difference is who's in charge, the master within or the imposter you keep feeding with distractions? You decide, not tomorrow, now. There is a moment in every life where the mask must come off, where you stop pretending, stop posturing, stop hiding behind potential. That moment is now. Because the life you want, the one you dream about in silence, it will never belong to the version of you who keeps avoiding the mirror. You must face yourself, not the edited version, not the one that looks good on paper, the real one, the one who cuts corners, the one who breaks promises to himself, the one who still hopes someone else will come along and do the hard work for him. That man must die, not out of shame, but because he's no longer useful. He was built for survival, not mastery. And survival is not the goal. Growth is, power is, purpose is, and those things don't come to the one who waits. They come to the one who becomes. So kill the old identity, the one that says, I'll try, the one that says maybe one day, the one that needs motivation, validation, or permission. Replace it with one word burned into your spirit, now. Now I decide, now I rise, now I become. You see, self-mastery doesn't happen by accident. It's engineered with ruthless clarity and relentless discipline. You must know what you stand for, and you must act like it every time. No negotiation, because the world won't give you what you want. It will give you what you demand with your energy, your presence, and your standards. And the first standard is this: never betray yourself again. That means doing what you said you would do, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's where confidence is born. In the private victories no one sees. That's the root of unshakable power. You want to lead? Start with yourself. You want success? Build the habits that make failure impossible. You want peace? End the war inside. And if you ever forget who you are, return to this truth. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are not your failures. You are what you choose to become. And the choice is still yours. Do not underestimate the quiet power of alignment. When your thoughts, your actions, and your values all move in one direction, you become unstoppable. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. That is the essence of self-mastery. To become so aligned with your purpose that distraction feels like poison. To become so rooted in your standards that compromise tastes bitter. To become so focused on who you are becoming that who you were becomes irrelevant. The world teaches you to adapt, to adjust, to seek approval. But the master learns to stand still in his truth while the storm passes. He does not chase. He attracts through the clarity of his character. And hear this, your results will never rise higher than your self-image. If you see yourself as weak, you will act weak. If you speak as a victim, life will hand you chains. But if you see yourself as disciplined, decisive, relentless, then every action will begin to reflect that truth. You don't fix your life by chasing outcomes. You fix your life by upgrading your identity, not with affirmations, but with evidence. Action is the only language the mind believes. So train it, show it. Prove to yourself day by day that you are who you say you are. The time for wishing is over. The time for alignment has come. Because when the inner world is mastered, the outer world obeys. Doors open. People notice. Opportunities align, not by luck, but by resonance. The frequency of a disciplined man is unmistakable. It moves without noise and commands without effort. But that frequency is earned in sweat, in silence. In the 1,000 moments, you choose purpose over pleasure. It's built in the early mornings, the quiet nights, the hours when no one is cheering, but you show up anyway. That's how you build something unshakable, not overnight, not all at once, but brick by brick, decision by decision, until your very existence is a declaration. I am the master of myself, and success is simply the result. There will be days when your mind rebels, when it whispers that you've done enough, that you've earned a break, that discipline can wait. Those are the days that matter most, because the difference between the ordinary And the unstoppable isn't how they act when it's easy. It's how they respond when it's not. Self-mastery isn't about perfection. It's about consistency, about choosing your values over your feelings, about doing what's right, not what's convenient. That is the invisible work that separates leaders from followers, creators from consumers, winners from watchers. And here's the truth most won't admit. Success is boring. It's repetitive. It's lonely. It's a grind. But buried in that monotony is the gold everyone seeks. Most people quit before they ever find it. The master digs until the silence speaks. You must become immune to the noise, immune to trends, opinions, and shortcuts, because shortcuts cost you your edge. And once the edge is gone, so is the momentum. Mastery requires obsession, not the kind that burns you out, the kind that builds you, the kind that sharpens every hour into purpose, that turns daily effort into ritual, that transforms routine into power. You must become the kind of person who is terrifyingly reliable, the kind who doesn't need supervision, inspiration, or validation, because when you are led by vision, not mood, nothing can stop you. Understand this. Every day you either reinforce who you've been or you train who you're becoming. There is no neutral. Your life is always under construction. So what are you building? A fortress of discipline or a palace of excuses? The answer is in your habits, and your habits are shaped by what you tolerate. Stop tolerating weakness. Stop explaining your delays. Stop hiding your standards behind politeness. This is your life, and your future self is waiting to see if you'll finally step up or continue stepping aside. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply one decision away from turning everything around. Success doesn't arrive with a trumpet. It sneaks in through the back door while you're doing the work no one applauds. It comes quietly, disguised as discipline, showing up in the patterns you repeat when no one else is looking. The truth is, most people never fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack resolve. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait to feel inspired. But inspiration is a gift for the undisciplined. The master doesn't wait. He moves. And you must become that, the kind of person who doesn't negotiate with laziness, the kind of person who doesn't need ideal conditions to begin, because life is never ideal. It is forged in fire, shaped by chaos, refined through resistance. So when discomfort knocks, don't run, invite it in. Because every ounce of pressure is an invitation to grow. Pain is not your enemy, stagnation is. Growth always carries a cost, but so does staying the same. One leads to power, the other leads to regret. You must train your mind to interpret discomfort as a signal, not to stop, but to dig deeper. Every time you push through resistance, you rewire your identity. You're not just completing a task. You're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. And that's what mastery is. The result of thousands of silent votes cast in favor of strength, clarity, purpose. You earn the right to call yourself disciplined. You earn the confidence that cannot be faked. So let others chase dopamine. Let them scroll their days away, comfort themselves with cheap pleasures. You build. You grind in silence. You sacrifice what is easy for what is real, because one day they will look at you and call you lucky. They will call you gifted, but you'll know the truth. You just did what they wouldn't. You just kept showing up. You mastered yourself. And now success obeys you. Every great transformation begins with a quiet decision, not shouted from rooftops, not announced on social media. A silent vow made between you and the future version of yourself, the one who's watching, waiting, wondering if you'll finally rise. That moment, when you decide to stop performing for the world and start performing for your potential, that's the beginning of everything. Because let me tell you what real success is. It's internal. It's invisible at first. It begins with a sharper thought, a cleaner choice, a refusal to repeat the same old patterns. You master your attention, your reactions, your urges, and the world begins to bend. Not because it changed, but because you did. And I say again, most men lose not because they lack strength, but because they lack control. They react instead of respond. They chase pleasure instead of pursuing purpose. They feed the weaker self because it's louder, not stronger. But the master knows silence is louder than noise. Stillness is stronger than impulse. Purpose is more powerful than pleasure. So train that silence. Embrace that stillness. Anchor yourself so deeply in your vision that nothing can shake you. Not failure, not criticism, not fear. The more you master your internal world, the less the external world can touch you. People will doubt you. They'll question your path. Let them. Their doubt is none of your business. Your discipline will answer every question. And that's the kind of life you want, one that needs no defense. One where your consistency speaks so loudly, your results make the noise. You see, you don't need to convince the world. You need to convince yourself every morning, every hour, every decision. That's where freedom begins. Freedom is not found in escape. It is found in alignment, in becoming so clear about who you are, what you want, and what you refuse to tolerate that life has no choice but to match your standard. And if it doesn't, you keep rising anyway, because you're no longer moved by mood. You are moved by mission. You were not born to drift. You were not created to blend in, to follow the herd, to live a life of quiet frustration while your soul starves for something more. You were born to command, to rise above chaos, to become the cause, not the effect. But that shift doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens over time through brutal honesty and radical responsibility. You stop blaming, you stop hoping, and you start building with your thoughts, with your actions, with the discipline to show up even when everything inside you says quit. And I'll tell you why most men never get there. They want transformation, but they reject the pain that comes with it. They want change without cost. They want the crown, but not the crucifixion of their old self. But hear me now. The crown is earned through fire. Self-mastery demands sacrifice. You must give up the version of you that settles, that complains, that watches life happen from the sidelines. You must kill comfort with every sunrise. You must trade convenience for clarity. You must learn to love the climb more than the applause, because no one is coming to save you. No mentor, no miracle, no motivation, only you, your choices, your mind, your unwavering decision to become unshakable. And once you make that choice, truly make it, life begins to move, not because the road gets easier, but because you get stronger. The same pressure that once broke you becomes fuel. The same doubt that once paralyzed you becomes silence. The same failures that haunted you become stepping stones. That is the gift of mastery. You stop chasing. You become. You rise not through noise, but through presence, not through volume, but through precision. And the world, and whether it understands you or not, begins to respond, because you've become rare, and rarity commands attention. But it starts here, now, with the small unseen moment where you decide, I will never again abandon myself. That is when mastery begins. That is when success follows. Every day, the world offers you an invitation to lose yourself, to scroll endlessly, to gossip meaninglessly, to compare, complain, conform. But mastery rejects the invitation. Mastery sees distraction for what it is, a thief dressed in comfort. Because while others waste time, the master sharpens. While others scroll, he studies. While others drift, he drives forward with purpose. He knows that time is not just money, time is identity. How you spend it is who you become. And that is why I say to you, protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Every second you waste in weakness is a second stolen from the man you could be, from the life you were meant to live. You want to stand out? Then cut out the habits that make you common, turn down the noise, silence the critics, and listen deeply to the voice within that says, more is possible. That voice is not your ego. It is your potential. and it's dying to be realized. But you can't reach it until you stop feeding the parts of you that want to stay small. Yes, it's hard. Mastery is not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's not something you post about. It's something you live in solitude, in silence, in the 1,000 tiny choices that no one will ever praise you for. But one day they will ask you how you did it, how you became calm in chaos, how you kept going when others broke, how you moved through failure and came back stronger. And you will know it wasn't luck, it wasn't magic, it was daily mastery, choosing the difficult path, the narrow road, the path of relentless self-respect. That's what this is, a declaration that you are no longer available for mediocrity, that you will no longer participate in your own destruction. From this moment forward, every decision becomes a vote for the master within, a vote for strength over ease, for vision over noise. This is your edge, your weapon, your path. Master yourself, and the world will have no choice but to follow. There is a sacred line few ever cross, the moment when your standard for yourself rises so high, even your old excuses feel ashamed to speak. That's the threshold of transformation. That's when life begins to shift, not because the world changes, but because you do. You stop tolerating delay. You stop negotiating with procrastination. You stop asking for permission to take up space. And in its place, you begin to operate with an intensity most people will never understand. They'll call you obsessed. Let them. Obsession is only a problem to those who've never tasted purpose, because once you know who you are and what you're capable of, moderation feels like betrayal. You weren't born to live halfway. You weren't made to dip your toes in the water of greatness. You were made to dive in, to burn, to become fully consumed by the mission placed in your soul. And I tell you, self-mastery is the only way to carry that fire without being destroyed by it. Because purpose without discipline is chaos. Drive without control is disaster. But when you master your energy, that's when you become unstoppable. The man who owns himself cannot be broken. He may bend, but he returns. He may fall, but he rises faster, because he is trained, not in muscles, not in speeches, but in inner silence. When the storms come, and they will come, you must become the still point in the center. While others panic, you remain poised. While others crumble, you lead. That's not arrogance. That's mastery. And it's earned. Every time you override the voice that says, I can't, every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you show up when no one's watching, you are becoming something few ever touch. And soon it won't be about goals. It won't be about proving anything. It will be about the quiet satisfaction of knowing, I am who I said I would be. And that is a power no one can take from you. The battle for mastery is fought in moments most overlook. The 5 a.m. alarm you want to silence, the extra rep you don't want to do, the honest conversation you want to avoid. These aren't small moments. They are the foundation of your empire. It's easy to chase the grand gestures, the big wins, the spotlight, but real success is forged in repetition, in the sacred rituals you keep when no one's watching, the discipline to say no to distractions, the courage to face discomfort, the commitment to rise again after failure. I want you to hear this. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you are becoming. A single decision to act, to persist, to resist temptation, builds a fortress around your future self. You may feel weak now, you may feel uncertain, but strength is a habit, cultivated, honed, trained like a muscle. The more you flex it, the more it grows. The more you deny it, the weaker it becomes. If you want to master success, you must first master this: the ability to choose growth every single day, no matter how small the step, no matter how quiet the progress. Success is less about talent and more about tenacity, less about luck and more about letting go of excuses. The master's mind is clear, his heart steady, his actions deliberate. He does not chase life, he attracts it by becoming worthy of it. So what are you worthy of? What standard are you setting? What legacy will your daily choices leave? Because in the end, mastery isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle, a relentless pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself over and over again. And every day you decide, will I rise or will I rest? Let me tell you this, success does not favor the passive. It does not reward the hesitant. It bends to the will of the relentless, the focused, the unshakable. And that unshakable force starts with mastering your mind. Your thoughts are not just fleeting images. They are architects building your reality. Left unchecked, they become tyrants, stealing your peace and your power. But when you master your mind, you become the ruler of your destiny. You begin to recognize the lies disguised as fears, the doubts dressed as facts. You learn to say no to the noise, no to distraction, no to the voices that tell you not yet, not good enough, or wait for later. Mastery is about creating an unbreakable inner fortress, one that can't be shaken by failure, criticism, or setback, one that stands firm when the world tries to knock it down. And to build that fortress, you must cultivate discipline like a sacred ritual, not as punishment, but as empowerment. The daily act of choosing your highest self over your easiest desire, the constant quiet victory of showing up for yourself. Because greatness isn't a moment, it's a habit. It's the sum of the small victories you win inside before the world even notices. So I ask you now, what are you building with your thoughts? Are they serving you? Are they sharpening you? Are they moving you closer to the master you were born to become? Or are they your chains, your cage, your excuse? Break free. Master your mind. Master yourself. And watch success become inevitable. You may wonder, how do you begin this journey when every part of you screams for ease, when the world offers comfort wrapped in distraction? The answer is simple. Start small, but start now. Mastery is not built on grand gestures, but on daily acts of courage. It is found in the moments you choose to resist, the moments you say, not today, weakness, the moments you rise while others sleep. Your mind is a garden. If you neglect it, weeds of doubt and fear will grow. But if you tend it daily, with focus, discipline, and intention, you will cultivate strength, clarity, and resilience. Think of yourself as a sculptor. Every decision chips away the excess, revealing the masterpiece within. But if you stop chiseling, if you allow the rough edges to remain, the masterpiece stays hidden. So, take up your tools. Begin the relentless work of self-mastery. Train your mind like a warrior trains for battle. Discipline your habits. Sharpen your focus. Build rituals that honor your highest self. This is not a path for the faint-hearted. It requires sacrifice. It demands consistency. It tests your will daily. But the reward is freedom. Freedom from doubt, from distraction, from being controlled by your lesser impulses. Remember, the man who masters himself owns his future. He writes his story with purpose and power. He becomes the author of his destiny, not a victim of circumstance. And that man, that master, is waiting to emerge from within you. You may think mastery is about perfection, but it is not. It is about progress, about showing up even when you feel tired, uncertain, or defeated, about choosing to fight for yourself again and again, no matter how many times you fall. The road to mastery is paved with failures, but it is also defined by how you respond to them. Do you let failure break you, or do you let it build you? Do you shrink back into fear, or do you step forward with resolve? Every successful man you admire has stood where you stand now, at the edge of doubt, facing the choice to rise or retreat. What separates them is the refusal to surrender to the weaker self, the refusal to let fear have the final word. Mastery is the daily battle against that weaker voice inside, the voice that whispers, "Give up," the one that convinces you to settle, to wait, to doubt your worth. You must learn to drown it out with action. Discipline is your weapon. Routine is your armor, and purpose is your guide. When you combine these, you become unstoppable. When you lose one, you become vulnerable. So guard your discipline fiercely. Build your routine with care. Anchor your purpose deeply. Because when the storm comes, and it will, these will be the pillars holding you upright. Master yourself, and you will master everything. Think of your mind as a garden. The thoughts you nurture grow strong and shape your reality. The doubts you water become weeds, choking your progress. Self-mastery begins with choosing carefully what you feed. Every moment you focus on fear, procrastination, or distraction, you give them power. But when you choose discipline, clarity, and purpose, you plant seeds of greatness that will bloom into unstoppable momentum. This is the invisible work, the silent shaping of your destiny. No one sees these daily battles, but they determine everything. Your life is the harvest of the thoughts you cultivate. You cannot outsource this work. No one else can master your mind for you. It is a solitary path, walked in the quiet moments before dawn, in the refusal to surrender to temptation, in the decisions you make when no one is watching. And the man who chooses this path becomes rare, a force beyond measure. Because he commands his inner world with such precision, the outer world cannot help but obey. Your challenge is simple. Choose what you will feed today. Will it be the whispers of doubt or the roar of discipline, the comfort of ease or the fire of purpose? Master yourself, and the world will bend to your will. Every habit you form is a vote cast for the person you wish to become. The daily rituals you keep build the foundation of your future, brick by brick, moment by moment. You may not see the change immediately. Mastery is often invisible in its early stages. Like a tree growing underground before it breaks the surface, your discipline and effort are quietly taking root. But rest assured, those unseen moments of struggle are creating an unbreakable foundation. When the world tests you, you will stand tall not because you suddenly gained strength, but because you built it steadily over time. So embrace the mundane, love the repetition, celebrate the small victories that no one else notices. These are the true markers of mastery. Remember, success isn't about luck or talent. It's about persistence. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. That is how you transform. That is how you become the master of yourself, and in turn, master success. In the quiet moments of discipline, when no one's watching, you are forging a power few will ever understand. This power isn't flashy or loud, it's steady, relentless, and absolute. You may feel the pull of temptation, the ease of giving up, the siren song of comfort, but the master does not answer. He stays the course. He chooses the hard path day after day because he knows the prize lies on the other side of resistance. Resistance is the crucible of greatness. It is where character is forged. It is the test that separates those who dream from those who do. So when you feel weak, remember this. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every refusal to quit is a triumph. Every moment of self-control builds an empire inside you that no one can take away. You are not fighting for fleeting success. You are fighting for lifelong mastery, for a life where you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but the creator of your destiny. This is your calling. This is your fight. And the moment to answer is now. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, your dreams remain just that, dreams. But with it, they become reality. Think of discipline as the daily investment you make in your future self. Every time you choose to act when you don't feel like it, you deposit strength, resilience, and confidence into your character bank. Soon, these deposits compound. The man who once struggled to get started now moves with effortless momentum. The voice of doubt grows quieter, drowned out by the sound of progress. But beware, this journey demands more than fleeting motivation. Motivation is fickle, like the wind. Discipline is steady, like the mountains. And it is discipline that carries you through storms when motivation fades. You will face days of temptation, days of weariness, days when the easier path calls louder than ever. But mastery is proven in these moments. It is choosing the difficult right over the easy wrong. Every time you do, you send a message to your mind, I am in control. And your mind listens. Because the battle for mastery is won not in grand victories, but in the 1,000 quiet moments where you choose to persist. Master yourself, and success becomes inevitable. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, the habits you tolerate, they either build you up or break you down. Mastery demands vigilance over what enters your mind and heart. It demands curating your circle, refining your influences, and guarding your time like a treasure. You cannot expect to rise if you spend your days in the company of doubt, negativity, and distraction. Success requires an ecosystem of support, not just from others, but from yourself. This means learning to say no. No to invitations that drain your energy. No to habits that waste your potential. No to anything that pulls you away from your mission. It is not selfish. It is necessary. Because every yes you give to distraction is a no to your future. Every compromise is a betrayal of your vision. Mastery is a fortress built on boundaries. Boundaries that protect your energy, your focus, and your purpose. So tighten your circle. Guard your time. Defend your dreams. And watch as the world begins to shift to meet your standard. You might believe success is about talent or luck, but that is a comforting lie. Real success is a reflection of who you are on the inside, your habits, your mindset, your discipline. No external circumstance can override the power of an unshakable inner foundation. You can have wealth, status, and influence, but if your mind is not mastered, none of it lasts. Mastery is the soil from which all greatness grows. It is the unseen work done in silence, the consistent choices made when no one's watching. It is the refusal to be swayed by momentary feelings or external chaos. The man who masters himself walks with a quiet confidence. He doesn't need validation because he has internal proof of his strength. He doesn't fear failure because he knows it is simply part of the process. You must become that man. The one who owns his thoughts, controls his emotions, and directs his actions with unwavering purpose. The world respects mastery. It fears it. But most importantly, it cannot ignore it. So ask yourself, what story are you writing with your daily choices? Are you crafting a tale of discipline, focus, and relentless growth, or one of distraction, delay, and regret? The pen is in your hand. Write with intention. Fear will try to sabotage you. It will dress itself in excuses, doubts, and what-ifs. It will whisper that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. But mastery means learning to walk through fear, not around it. Fear is a test. It measures how much you want your dreams versus how much you fear discomfort. Every time you face it and move forward anyway, you grow stronger. You rewire your brain to respond with courage instead of retreat. This is the ultimate mark of a master, the ability to act despite fear, to say, I will not be held hostage by my doubts, to stand tall when the world tells you to shrink. The path to mastery is lined with moments where fear begs you to stop, but you must keep walking, keep climbing, keep rising, because on the other side of fear lies freedom, the freedom that comes from owning your power, your choices, and your destiny. So meet fear like an old friend, acknowledge it, but do not obey it. Mastery is the courage to keep going no matter the cost, and that courage is within you now. When you master yourself, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You no longer blame others for your failures or wait for luck to change your story. Instead, you take full responsibility, the kind of responsibility that empowers rather than confines. Responsibility is freedom disguised as duty. It is the willingness to own your past, your present, and your future without excuse or apology. It is the mindset of the man who says, I am the captain of my soul. And that mindset is contagious. It shifts your energy. It attracts opportunities and allies. It commands respect. But it begins with one step, the decision to stop blaming and start leading yourself first. Remember, no one else can do this work for you. No mentor, no coach, no formula can substitute for the relentless pursuit of self-mastery. It is hard, it is lonely, it demands sacrifice. But it also offers the greatest reward, a life lived on your terms, a success that no one can take from you. Choose responsibility, choose freedom, choose mastery, and watch your world transform. You must learn to harness the power of focus. The mind is like a spotlight. Wherever you aim it, energy flows, growth happens, and results manifest. But a scattered mind is a powerless mind. Mastery demands that you choose your focus like a surgeon chooses his tools, precise, intentional, unrelenting. You must eliminate the distractions that fragment your attention and drain your willpower. This means setting boundaries, saying no to the trivial, saying yes to the vital. It means cultivating rituals that anchor your day and sharpen your clarity. When your focus is sharp, your actions become purposeful. Your energy is conserved. Your progress accelerates. Remember, success is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. The man who masters himself learns this truth and lives by it. So take control of your focus, guard it fiercely, direct it toward your highest goals, because mastery is impossible without it. Your emotions are not your enemy, but they are not your master either. Mastery means learning to feel deeply without losing control. It means experiencing passion, pain, joy, and fear, and choosing which ones guide your actions. Emotional mastery is the ability to respond instead of react, to pause before you speak, to choose calm over chaos, to let your vision drive your feelings, not the other way around. This is the difference between a man who is tossed by every wind and one who stands firm in any storm. You don't have to suppress your emotions. You have to direct them. Like a river channeled to power a mill, your emotions can fuel your progress, but only if you control their course. The moment you learn to master your emotional world, you step into a power few possess. And that power will carry you farther than any talent or strategy ever could. Your habits are the architects of your future. They shape your days, your mindset, your identity. The small actions you repeat consistently and without fail build the foundation of who you become. Mastery means crafting habits with intention, habits that reinforce your vision, strengthen your discipline, and fuel your progress. It means ruthlessly eliminating those that do not serve you. Habits are the compound interest of self-mastery. They may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time their impact is exponential. The man who masters himself builds habits that withstand stress, fatigue, and temptation. When you master your emotions, you hold the reins of your destiny firmly in your hands. No longer do you swing wildly with every high and low. Instead, you move with intention, steadiness, and clarity. The power of emotional mastery is subtle but profound. It creates a calm center in the chaos, a lighthouse in the storm. When challenges arise, and they will, you don't crumble or lash out. You respond with wisdom and resolve. This isn't a denial of feelings. It's a command over them. You acknowledge the storm within, but you don't let it dictate your course. You become the captain, steering through rough seas with steady hands and an unyielding heart. And that strength radiates. It influences those around you. It opens doors. It builds trust. Because nothing inspires confidence more than a man who commands himself before commanding the world. This is the power you're building. This is the mastery you're becoming. Emotional mastery is the foundation for all lasting success. Without it, everything else falters. So nurture it, train it, own it, because your emotions can either be your greatest ally or your fiercest enemy. Choose mastery. Your habits are the bricks that build the house of your life. Each one, small or large, shapes your character, your energy, your future. Mastery is forged in the daily choices you make, not the occasional grand gestures. Discipline is habit made visible. Without the scaffolding of good habits, your goals remain castles in the air. But with them, your dreams become solid, tangible, unstoppable. So don't underestimate the power of small wins. Waking early, focusing without distraction, speaking your truth, honoring your commitments. These habits, repeated relentlessly, are the secret to mastery. The man who masters himself doesn't rely on willpower alone. He builds a system of habits that protect him from temptation, fatigue, and doubt. He structures his life so that success is the natural outcome of his daily routine. You can do the same. Begin with one habit, master it, add another, stack them like bricks. Build until you have a fortress of discipline no storm can breach. Remember, your habits today create your reality tomorrow. Self-mastery demands patience. It's easy to get frustrated when progress feels slow or invisible. But the truth is, transformation happens beneath the surface long before it shows on the outside. Think of a seed growing underground, stretching roots before it sprouts. You don't see the change at first, but it's happening, steadily, persistently, powerfully. So don't give up when results lag. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Every small step forward is a victory. Every day of discipline, a building block. The man who masters himself understands the value of time, that real growth is a marathon, not a sprint. He commits to the process, trusting that his efforts will compound into greatness. Mastery is a slow burn, but it's an unstoppable one. And when the breakthrough comes, it will feel effortless, because you prepared for it with relentless persistence. Now stand at the threshold of your future. A future shaped not by chance, not by circumstance, but by your mastery of yourself. This is your moment to step fully into the man you were always meant to be. Remember, success is not a prize won overnight. It is a lifelong journey, walked one disciplined step at a time. Each choice you make writes the story of your legacy, a story of courage, focus, and relentless growth. You have the power to command your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, to become the captain of your soul and the architect of your destiny. This power is within you now, so take it, own it, live it. Master yourself with fierce determination and unwavering faith. Because when you master yourself, success becomes not a distant dream, but your inevitable reality. The question is simple. Will you take the first step, or will you let this moment pass? Choose mastery. Choose success. Choose yourself. Your journey starts now. The world makes way for those who dare to rise. Click the Rise button now to subscribe and claim the destiny waiting for you. Your time is now.